Hey guys, this is Ashley,
And Megan.
and you are listening to the Mito podcast. Today's episode that you are about to listen to, we discuss Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. We talked to my cousin Laurie, who to me is a bit of an expert on the topic. She's going to go over the history, how to set up a shrine, the elements that are involved, and we even go into a little bit about animals and how they are affected by the spirits around us.
So this episode is going to be a great opportunity for you to learn about the different things that you can do to celebrate your loved ones that have passed. Of course, it's always an emotional and can be saddening time when you think about the loved ones that are not here with us anymore. But this gives you a way to celebrate them and celebrate their memories. So enjoy this podcast, and I hope you learn a few things and you can take this with you and possibly build your own altars and celebrate the children or brothers, sisters, anyone who you have lost. So please listen and enjoy.
And today, our guest is my cousin Laurie. She is going to talk to us about Day of the Dead. And would you please go ahead and say it so that the right pronunciation comes out?
Yes, it is Dia de los Muertos.
And the reason that we're having Laurie on with us today is because this has become a holiday that is special to me. And I know a lot of our listeners will be on the fence with wanting to listen. Whether that means that you don't want to talk about death or you're not ready to hear this, that's fine. But for those of us that do have an angel in heaven, and that could be a child, a parent, a cousin, a best friend, anybody that's been in your life that has passed away, I feel like this is a very important topic to discuss because it's something that has become meaningful for me and my family. So Laurie, thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here.
And why don't you go ahead and just dive in? Why don't you just launch us and start where you think we should?
Okay. So, well, first of all, the historical background here is this is a tradition that comes out of the Aztec culture in Mexico. And it's celebrated by my family. My family is from Puebla, Mexico, which is about 2 hours south of Mexico City. And my family, majority of them were born in a town called Cholula, which is actually the largest, the base is the largest pyramid in the world. And so there's a lot of traditions in Cholula and in the state of Puebla, where my family lives now. My mother lives there as well, and 200 family members, including my abuelita, my grandmother. So this tradition is very much alive in my family. And so I wanted to share with you an altar. The reason why we build these altars is because in the Aztec culture, we believe that there are actually 3 deaths. The first death is when you take your last breath. The second death is when you are buried and no longer seen on earth again. So your physical body is gone. But the third death is what Aztecs believe to be the most dreaded, and that is to be forgotten. And so that you are not forgotten, we build altars, and our altars have pictures of our ancestors so that we can always remember and celebrate them once a year and not forget. So that is why we build these altars. And there is there's elements that go into each altar. And I thought I would share my altar. So I'm going to go ahead and come over to where the altar is. And I think I'm going to flip my camera so that you could see it a little bit better. Okay. So this is an altar. In the middle here is my father. And this picture here is my grandfather. So the primary altar is celebrating my dad's life. And so we've got on altars, you can put items that belong to them. So his pipe, this was his pipe. This was a cigar. He passed 10 years ago, but we still have his cigar is still there. He was a fan of the Bud Light, so celebrating that there. And he also loved music. So on this altar, it has the list of names of all his favorite musicians. And you'll see the traditional skeletons and the bright colors that kind of are represented in the artwork here on this altar. My father was Swiss, so there's the Swiss flag. He also played the accordion, so there's the accordion back there. This is my Mexican grandfather, who has also passed. He was a guitar player in a mariachi. And then this, of course, is our Angie. So Angie is right there. Usually what we do to celebrate children who have passed, we usually put a sugar skull. So there's a skull here, and the sugar skull is supposed to be to attract the children to the altar. So really, really proud to have Angie there. And then we have, you can put elements up from that remind you of folks. So this is a Madonna that is from my aunt, Tia Delma, who has passed. Tia Delma's down there, is her picture. We also have our great grandfather for myself and Ashley. He is represented there. We have Gary, my cousin, and Ashley's dad here. Our Uncle Rocky is there. And then you can put, this is Bucky who passed away and Rosie who passed away. So you also can celebrate pets who have gone. And then there's some elements that I wanted to mention. They're really important. So one element is, so you notice there's candles. So the first element is fire. So the reason why we have fire is because they're actually considered guiding lights for the dead to find us. So that's why in the actual altars in Mexico, in the United States, we tend to build these in our homes, but in Mexico, they actually build them at the cemeteries. And so it's beautifully lit up and lots of lights. Then we have earth, the next element, and earth is represented by flowers. Now I didn't get a chance to put any fresh flowers up here, but normally it's marigold flowers. And the reason why it's marigold is, you remember they're kind of that orange colored flower, and marigolds have a very, very strong scent. So also it's to attract the spirits to earth. And in Nahuatl, which is native of Aztec language, there's a lot of celebrations of feast celebrations that they have that commemorate the dead that have lots and lots of marigolds in them. And marigolds are actually from Puebla. They're harvested in Puebla and in Veracruz, which is where my family is from. The concept of how bright they are also, it's the bright colors. And that concept is, it's a way to celebrate life instead of being bitter about death. And there's also a legend connected to marigold flowers, is that bright colors. And that's why you actually see bright colors on all the altars. It's supposed to represent, it was to reunite a few gods, some Aztec lovers, one that was killed in battle. And it represents the sun. So praying to the sun for their spirits to return as well. So that's the second element. The third element is there's a glass of water here. So the glass of water is because the spirits have been on a long journey to come back to earth. So that's to quench their thirst. And then the next element is wind. So this is called papel picado. And papel picado, it moves with the wind. If you open the door, even it moves. And the wind is critically important because it basically tells us every time you see those papel picado moving, that means that the spirits are here. And it represents the union between life and death. And I could go on papel picado. There's a long history there, but back in the day, the folks that you would go to, you can call it a witch doctor in our terms here in Mexico, and say, I'm having an issue with my mother-in-law. She's not feeling well. And so you can go to this person who would actually cut out a piece of paper, a custom piece of paper, and give it to you, and then tell you to take it home and put it up in your house, and that would cure the problem. So it's an ancient Aztec tradition to use the papel picado, the history there. Then there is copal, which is, it's the type of incense. This is the traditional incense that you would burn. It comes in two forms. It could come in a rock form, or it comes in the, traditional ones that we're used to. But copal is, it comes out of, it's a tree that's actually native to Mexico. So in the Aztec portions, and it's used in many, many rituals actually to get prayers, transmit prayers, and also to cleanse and make sure that only positive spirits come to us. So that's why copal in particular is important. And then the other thing that's important is a banquet of food. Now, what you normally would do is you would put your loved one's favorite foods out here so that when they get here, they'll be able to consume in those foods that were their favorites. So normally I would have, if I got it together before this time that we had, would have put some chicken mole out here because my father really, really loved chicken mole. And actually that works out because chicken mole is actually one of the traditional meals that you would put on an altar. So lucky for my dad for marrying a Mexican. he got to benefit from chicken mole quite a bit. My dad, for a Swiss guy, loved some spice. So so you would put all their favorite foods out there, and then you let the food kind of, you leave it out there for the week. The water will actually just evaporate. And so as it evaporates, and sometimes you can put liquor out there too. So if you have if somebody had a favorite drink that they liked, that evaporates faster. It's supposed to symbolize that it's that they're coming to consume what you've put out for them. And as the food rots, it's actually a good thing because it kind of emulates death, right? So it's alive at once and then it emulates death and goes away. And it's so kind of the pattern of life and death. So, so that's a basic overview of sort of the elements that are in an altar. And I think it's important to mention that it can be celebrated in other cultures as well. It's predominantly in the Mexican culture, but I also think it's important for others to know about the traditions, respect the tradition, and use it in a way that is respectful to the culture, which I think is in your home, putting an altar in your home, and making it a time of an opportunity to celebrate those who have passed. And so I cherish this holiday. And as you know, all my family members are here, and I really do spend the time thinking about them. You think about them often, but this time of the year, when you do it in a ceremony way, it feels really, really good to honor them. There is a ceremony that you can conduct if you wanted to, and the way that the ceremony works is it's called the presente ceremony. And the way that it works is you light the copal first. That's the first step. You light it, and then everybody who is in the ceremony together, and it could be 2 people, it could be 100 people, you ask everyone to take 3 deep breaths to bring calm. And then you actually say the names of everyone who has passed. So if we were to do this ceremony, I would say Melvin Scolari, and then everybody would say presente. And then Angie, we would say Angie's name and everyone would say presente. And so you go through sort of the folks who have passed, and each name gets honored. And presente means present. So that means they're here with us. Their spirit is here with us. So it's a really beautiful, beautiful ceremony. And because it's a quiet, calm one, it gets emotional. And it can get emotional in a way that makes you feel connected to the spirit, but it also can get emotional for you in that you miss the person so much. So you have to be prepared to be involved in that ceremony, so that you could be prepared to process some pretty deep emotions. But it is truly a beautiful way to remember those that we've lost. So that's it. I'm happy to take any questions.
Yeah. Thank you for going into all of that. I appreciate it. It's nice to be able to hear every step and everything that's included with making the altar, and the meaning behind it. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Where do you buy the incense? Is there can you get it at most places, or do you have to order it, or is there anything specific?
I think you could probably order it online, but where I get it, I live in San Francisco, and we have if there's in your town or city, if there's a Latino, Latinx community, you could probably get it there. This copal where I bought it there's actually a store that is for Day of the Dead in San Francisco. And so I usually go there every year and buy everything. So I haven't had a chance to go yet, but I get my marigolds there and everything there. So if you live in a larger city that has a community like that, you can definitely get it there. If you don't, I would definitely, I'm pretty sure you can get it online, and it's spelled COPAL, copal.
Okay. And when do you generally like start to decorate or start setting up your altar?
I usually set it up fully. That's why it's sort of pseudo set up here, but I usually set it up the last week of October and into the next few weeks of November. So that's usually the time frame that I, put the food out, the incense out, and that aligns with the Aztec time, the celebration, beginning of November.
And there's specifically 2 different days, right? One that is for children and one that is for adults.
Correct. I tend to kind of do them together myself, but you can do that. And that's the traditional way, is the first one is for children and the second one is for adults. So you can do that for sure. There's not a lot of, rules about this that you can break. You could sort of take it and make it your own. Some folks put the altar up for the entire month of November and replace the food. And, so there's just different ways that you could sort of take it and make it your own.
Megan, did you have any questions before I keep going?
No, I just, appreciate you giving all the history with this. It's something that I didn't know too much about. Always appreciated the art and the just the beautiful colors and everything that goes along with it. But yeah, my brother actually passed away this last year in February. Mm-hmm. So this is something that we will be doing this year as well. And so it's really nice to see all the specific details and things. And also with your altar, is that obviously your father's picture is painted on that? Is that something that you had made or that you?
Yes. Yeah, I had it made. And it's pretty rare to have an altar of this detail. Mm-hmm. But I had access to a pretty awesome artist who made this for me. So yeah, you don't have to get this elaborate with your altar. You could just, set up a table and put your pictures and candles and items up. And even if you don't have access to papel picado or all the different elements, you could probably order most of it online. But if you don't, just do your best. Just make it, as long as the pictures are there and the food is there and the candles are there. I think those are the main elements. And it as long as it looks like something that when you walk past it or you look at it, it reminds you that you are honoring your loved one. That's the most critical piece. You don't have to have all these exact elements. So just keep in mind, it's better to do something to celebrate and make you feel good and at peace. And the way that you want to do it is, it doesn't matter. Again, there's no rules about this necessarily. It's your approach to how you celebrate your loved one.
And I really like how it's celebrating them. Obviously, it's anyone who's had someone that's passed, it's sad and it brings up emotions, but you're celebrating their memory, you're honoring who they were. And I think that's really special.
Yeah, the first time that I really got to actually experience it. Sorry, the dogs are growling at each other. Hold on one second. Stop. Here, take this one. They're arguing over a bone. And there's multiple sitting there. So when Angie passed away, so before, my dad had passed away, but he wasn't at a cemetery or anything like that yet. And so when Angie passed away, it was really the first experience that I've had in going to a cemetery over and over and over again, not just like a visit once a year or every couple of years or something. I'm going every single week. And it was, sorry, now Buddy is coming up here to join. See, you're right. All of the animals are convening.
Yes, when you start talking about death, don't be surprised, and loved ones that are emotional to you, don't be surprised that the animals start participating in the conversation.
Yeah, really, seriously, look at it. No, so it was, so I was going a lot, and it was the first time that I realized how peaceful a cemetery is. And when you're growing up, you don't think of it that way. You think of it as like this creepy, scary place. And it really isn't. And so the first year that Angie was gone, in 2019, I went out to go and see her and just spend time with her. And all of the graves near us were all decorated. And there was this one just giant shrine a couple away from us. And I was just like, oh my gosh, what is this? And I saw, and it was the most elaborate, beautiful thing that I've ever experienced. And it really inspired me to do more and more for Angie. And I feel that now that she's gone, I don't get to, I mean, I still celebrate her birthday. We still have a birthday party. We still remember her and honor her. But this was something that was like extra special. It was something too that my Julian and Joelle, my niece and nephew, for the listeners, they're both very young. Julian, sorry. Julian and Joelle were like best. Julian and Joelle, Julian and Angie were best friends, and they had this like interesting bond that you don't expect a child that young to have. And he always knew that he needed to be slow and gentle around her. And it was just like this intuition that he had that, I mean, you don't expect a 2-year-old to be gentle with a 1.5-year-old, or a 1-year-old to be gentle with a 6-month-old. Like that cognition isn't there yet. You can't really teach that yet. And so he was always super gentle with her. And it breaks my heart knowing that he was so young and he's never going to remember her. And that's a fact. I know that. And Joelle, she never got to meet her cousin. She was born after she passed away. And I wanted there to be a way for them to celebrate her that wasn't a birthday, because Angie will never be able to get older. And I felt like this would be the perfect, this cat. I felt like this would be the perfect way to honor her and be able to teach them who she was, and be able to, as they grow older, understand more about her and more about kids. And unfortunately, this is our life. Like I see families that lose their children all the time. And so this was something special that has helped me. I mean, you don't get over it. You don't heal. Things get different, but it's always going to be hard. There's never going to be an easy day. And being able to celebrate the Day of the Dead for any family member, but especially your child, and being able to decorate and go all out and have these happy, bright colors, these beautiful flowers, these things that represent earth and that spiritual realm, is something really special. So thank you for explaining it and helping our listeners to understand what it is.
Yeah.
Be patient with this cat.
So quick thought on the cat and the other cat in the background and the dogs, and children. So there is a really great book called The Four Agreements. If you haven't read it, it's by Don Miguel Ruiz, and the concept is it's about the Tolteca culture, which is one of the Aztec part of the Aztec Empire, which is actually where my family is from. So we're Tolteca, and the book itself, it's a short read, but it talks about how the concept that was believed by the Toltecas is that when you come to Earth and come onto this plane, that you as a baby and as a young child have not been indoctrinated into the rules of society. And some of those rules of society shut down our third eye, shut down our ability to see other spirits or feel spirits. But animals are not animals and young children can still feel and see those spirits until they get older. And as we get older, we forget. We are brainwashed into not believing that that exists. So Julian, the reason why probably he was so gentle with Angie is because he knew, right? His intuition was very much intact. And the animals know, and every single time every year that I do the altar or talk about my dad, talk about loved ones where it's emotional, the animals all get involved. They start jumping on your lap, they start growling, they start doing things because they feel these emotions, and they also could be feeling the spirit. So that's the concept that is talked about in the Four Agreements. Is about the Tolteca way and believing that we actually can connect to our loved ones spiritually, but we forgot how because of the society that we're currently living in. So anyway, it's a really great book that's also seeped in this same concept of the culture itself.
That's awesome. I have heard of the book, but it's been a very long time since I read it. So I definitely will need to pick it up and read it again.
Awesome.
I have a funny story I'm going to share. So a while ago, this is probably last year, Julian woke up and he all of a sudden was just talking about Angie. And my sisters are really good about, I mean, they have pictures of Angie everywhere, and they always talk about her and they point at her picture and say, this is Angie. And they always explain to them who she was. And he woke up one morning, he was like, but I want to play with her. And my sister was like, well, I'm sorry, honey, she's not here. And I can't remember how she explained it to him, but he was like, and I have to, for the listeners too, my nephew has an English accent, and it's from watching shows from England. It's the funniest thing because he's been in San Diego his whole life and never been exposed to any accents, but he has this accent. And so there's certain words that he says and you're just like, where did you learn this? But so he's in the staircase and he's like, but I want, and we'll go to the market. And I don't know where my picture went. Sorry. Well, we just need to get glue, Mama. And she was like, what are you talking about? She was like, well, we're going to fix Angie. We're going to go to the glue market and get glue, and we'll put her back together and she can come over and play with my trucks with me. And it was just like,
wow.
It was a beautiful moment because you really felt like he understood who she was. And it's a beautiful, it really touches my heart when he does talk about her, because he does, and it's random. Like every once in a while I'll get a phone call and it'll be Julian talking about Angie, and he did it like a week ago. He was telling me Afa, because he calls, that's our way of auntie. He goes, Afa, Angie's gonna be back. She's coming back. I just wanted you to know that she's not gone. She's going to come back to you. And I was just like, oh wow, buddy, I love you.
Powerful. Yeah.
But thank you so much for being with us. Megan, did you have anything that you wanted to add or any more questions?
No, thank you so much for sharing all this information with us and giving us a better understanding of how to celebrate this day, or days, multiple days.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to just close by just giving my condolences to, you've lost your brother, and we all miss Angie. So I just want to acknowledge the challenge that you both are going through, and all of your listeners that have lost their precious loved ones. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. And hopefully this concept, this ceremony, will help bring a little bit of light to a very, very challenging time that, as you said, it never really heals. But it helps bring a little bit of positivity to your thinking about that person for a moment, and remembering them in a way that hopefully helps you process a little bit and or makes you feel good.
Thank you. And thank you for taking time to talk with us and our listeners. If you guys are listening right now, this was the Mito podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. Are we on Spotify?
Yes, we are.
I haven't said that in such a long time. You can also find us at mitopodcast.com, or you can email us at mitopodcast@gmail.com. If you guys have any questions or would like to learn more, hear more about this episode, or even have a suggestion for one in the future, please let us know. And thank you for listening.